Right then, back with episode 7, I think, of Document the Journey. Fucking hell, the days are getting longer because it's summer, but I feel like my work days are getting longer because there's just more and more shit to do. It's reminiscing on 2 years ago when I was like deep in the scale trenches. It's like nice busyness, but still like stressful busyness a little bit. But yeah, last week, I'm going to try and like keep this one short because I'm fucking hungry and I feel like it's boring for people to listen for like 20 minutes. But big issue obviously last week with the Instagram going down. Ended up getting that back. It took 6 days and cost me a lot of money to get that fixed. Basically got it fixed, learned why it probably got taken down, long story, and made a load of changes to make sure that won't happen again because that was fucking stressful. I feel like it massively killed momentum. I mean, it did kill momentum. It killed all our ads, which are primarily on Instagram at the time, because previously we also had the TikTok ad account disabled. That has also now been fixed. I said the ad account was disabled, like the domain got like blacklisted basically. I tweeted about it the other day. Ended up getting on a call with them, just being honest about like who I am, what the business is about, etc, etc. Turned out one of the guys that's like fairly high up at TikTok knew Jack, who's one of my investors, pretty well, and that helped the situation because otherwise I probably would have never even got a call to like fix it and run through shit. So like the domain's been whitelisted. TikTok's gone back up today. Instagram started running again last Friday when I was in the gym. I got gas and we got the account back. And yeah, like those two things are fixed. Another thing on the ad buying side, we've been having issues with Google Shopping since day one. Whole host of reasons. That's now finally getting fixed. It feels like we've never actually had all 3 ad channels, Facebook, TikTok and Google running properly without issues all at the same time consistently. So this week, well, probably next week onwards, but in terms of full week, will be the first week we've actually had all 3 running properly. So I'm keen to see how the fuck that affects, because without TikTok, for example, Instagram was doing not shit, but a lot worse than it was when they were both running. Like blended ROAS was down, like scale was up, but blended ROAS is quite down, CPA was up, all that sort of shit. So yeah, like we're coming to the end of there's another week left, but we're nearing the end of the second full month, and we've like more than doubled the first month revenue, which is good. Probably don't plan to do that at the same rate for next month, maybe just about, but yeah, it's been a solid start. We have over 3,000 customers now. We've got over 600 subscribers, and this is like 9 weeks in. So yeah, pretty happy that it's gone like properly. Got the proof of concept, got a bunch of data now, and now just starting to like properly look at things and make changes and put shit in place to obviously get to where I want to be. Because like thinking about it, like a lot of my mindset now is, well, I know where I want to be with the business in terms of like 3 to 5 years. How can we do that in 2 years hypothetically, and thinking that way? Because often I think like, yeah, you want to be like aggressively patient and shit, but sometimes I just don't want to be patient. I just want to, like, how quick can we actually make this thing massive? And I've done it before and fucked it up, and I've done it to a smaller scale with another brand and not fucked it up. But now it's like, how can I get this to 1 million a month? This is like my mindset. How can I get this to 1 million a month within the next year, like consistently run rate and be smooth as fuck? And I think that's so doable, based on what I'm seeing. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. I feel like I've been here before in the scale stage where like shit's working and you want to double down and go as quick as you can. It's not always the best approach because like you want to take into account obviously like cash flow, stock implications of scale, scaling like the back end as well. So like the customer service offering, making sure that's all like super smooth. Scale the team, which I'm starting to do a little bit and I'll get onto in a second. But yeah, it's been generally pretty smooth. Obviously we had like the biggest hiccup really has been that Instagram issue. Product feedback's been genuinely really good across the board, which is like, I think probably one of the most important metrics, which is like not a number, but it's just, I see it every day on Instagram, Trustpilot, messages I get to the personal page, to the brand page, as well as comments, etc. Obviously not everyone loves it, but most people do. We've not had a single chargeback, which is another good thing. So like customer service has been on point, and that's out of 3,000 plus orders at this point. So yeah, all that shit's going smooth, which is good because it did not always go smooth in that respect for me in the past, as a lot of people know. What else has happened? Mentioned before, we're looking for like a part-time portfolio FD, which might sound really fucking fancy, but basically just a person that beyond the accountancy stuff, like the basic statutory filing, all that, that's already taken care of. This is more like management accounts, budgeting, scenario planning for potential future fundraising, for potential acquirers in the future. Like, it's building that financial picture from the start and building out like a plan. So that person has now been found, and we've agreed terms with, I say me and Alex, another one of my investors who's been invaluable, has helped me with that. Would not know where the fuck to even start with that without him. So thanks for that, Alex. And yeah, we've agreed a very small equity slice, which is like vested over 3 years, because I think it makes sense for that sort of thing. Like, he's massively experienced. He's bought more into the brand then, and he cares more about the outcome, like now and in the future. So I think it makes massive sense. Another thing that's happening, I just got off a call with one of them, trying to work out a deal with another, well, I call them like strategic investor. Like, it's not just for cash, it's to get the person in that I want to get in, because I know they can help with a billion things and open a lot of doors, which is something I've realised just even in the first few months of having investors on from back in January when we closed that round. It's so invaluable. Like, other people, certain people more than others that have maybe more time and like mental bandwidth to give to the business. But yeah, about to do a deal with, well, likely to do a deal with someone else to bring them in. So yeah, I'm excited about that, because again, more money does help things go quicker. It means you can primarily hire people quicker. You can invest in stock quicker, because just investing profits at small scale isn't going to get you to that like parabolic scale. It's just not possible, like in terms of how quick I want to go with this, like growth wise. But then also it allows me to be quicker on like new product releases. For example, like a bunch of accessory products I've got on the way, a second flavor, all that sort of stuff, which you would just be more hesitant to do with less cash in the bank ultimately. So yeah, there's that side, but there's also like the impact they're going to have and the input they're going to have, and like helping me and shit, and like more formally. And this person already does a lot of that kind of anyway, informally, but when they got skin in the game, it makes a big difference. So yeah, that's the other thing. One thing I'm trying to do is get better at hiring. I don't need to hire loads of people, because I'm trying to work this out the other day. It's probably like 7 people I work with like almost full time, if you include like agencies and stuff. But I do want to hire like a performance content manager at the minute, and kind of what I mean by that is, it's not a social media manager, it's more just someone to manage all the content that we have coming from a million sources, UGC, TikTok, like photographer, videographers that we work with regularly. So just basically outsourcing that to someone that's better at that than me, but also can focus on that, because I'm spending a lot of time doing that. But I'm terrible at hiring, I always probably fucking have been. And yeah, again, another one of my investors and good mate is helping me with that, because they're much better at that. They've built an agency with like 30 plus people now, team members, and yeah, I'm just really bad at that. So I'm trying to get better at that, because otherwise I can never really build the business at the scale I want to. And I'm very conscious I'm shit at that right now. Well, so I wrote a few notes down. TikTok organic, I was banging on about that before. I think that still has massive potential. I'm not convinced it's as scalable as people think, or maybe Twitter, because it's so susceptible to very likely pending algorithm changes, and it's so hit and miss. And most creators want to be paid up front, and you just can't pay creators up front if ultimately the impact of their content relies on an algorithm. Because if you pay someone, let's say $1,000 for a bunch of content, gets no views, like on that side of things, it's just, that is literally just burning money. Whereas at least £1,000 on ads, you know, generally speaking, that's going to have a certain return based on like averages and just, you know, general CPM, CPA, whatever. So yeah, I think it's a good supplementary channel, but it's a lot of work to manage creators as well. I mean, the person I'm trying to hire for like the content stuff would probably do that as well, but I'm not convinced it's as scalable, in my opinion, as maybe other people think on TikTok. And maybe that's because they've just nailed it more than I have, but I think it's got potential. I just don't think it's how I'm going to scale the brand like to where I want it to be consistently, at least not long term. I still think paid is absolutely where, paid and obviously repeat purchase and word of mouth, but you know, initially paid, I think that's the best thing to focus on, at least in my mind, with like limited team members right now. Horizontal scale plans are only running out to the UK right now. I think the best way to scale would be to scale into Europe. And my flatmate's just walked in, episode 7. But yeah, no time soon, just fully UK for now. I reckon for like the next 6 months, just really focus on that, like quicker shipping, like build a name in this country first, probably go to Europe rather than US next for a few different reasons, but that's probably the plan. In terms of scale, like I said, we probably doubled from last month. Next month, I think we can do similar. I think we can be at like 10k a day within like the next 2 months consistently. We could be there now in terms of like ad performance, but just don't have the stock for it. That's literally it. So yeah, stock management's hard, but trying to get better at that using a few different softwares. But yeah, the scale potential is definitely there because the ad performance is there, the repeat customs there, the reviews are good, Facebook feedback score is good, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, it's really just fucking doing shit every day to move the needle, because the needle is moving, and pretty much bang on where I want it to be by month 2 in terms of numbers, which I set pre any numbers, so it's a pretty good guess. And yeah, just more and more of that really. Another thing, I mentioned like the podcast plans. I feel like doing the pod every week felt a bit forced, because when it's in person, particularly in summer, it's kind of harder to get guests, and I feel like I'm just getting guests for the sake of an episode. So I still want to keep doing the pod, but like I did one in Marbella with Tyler, and it like had like high production quality, cool location, and it makes me think maybe I'd rather do less but high quality ones and like focus on the documentary series as my like YouTube endeavor. Obviously the brand being number 1 by far, but then I had this sick idea about like the Pool Party Social Club thing, about somehow trying to get people to come together, like the whole community, like Twitter that watches the pod and so on, and literally buying a fucking exotic mansion like the one we're in Marbella. Maybe that's a mad idea, but I think it's got legs, so I'm playing around with that alongside as well. But that's probably it for the update, to be fair. There's a bunch going on, starting to feel fairly stressed, which means that's good. It means my head's in the fucking game. It means there's a lot happening. If I wasn't stressed at all, I'd probably think I wasn't doing enough. So yeah, and remember, pressure's a privilege, as I've said before, and learn to love the process of the game, and that's what I'm trying to do. And yeah, if you're in the trenches, I can fucking relate. We're all in this together. Let's go build some sick shit and get rich. And space goods to the moon, as always. Catch you in the next episode. Peace.